Hello, my name is Rohan Soni, and I'm a grade 10 student currently studying at Hillfield Strathallan College. This is my fourth year doing BASEF, and I feel that this is by far my best project. And this project can make a really good impact on the steel industry, and I can get the message across to them to lower their overall carbon footprint, which coincidentally leads me to my BASEF 2022 project, which is, can green steel reduce the overall carbon footprint? So let's look at the Canadian steel industry at a glance. The Canadian steel industry produces approximately 13 million tons of steel per year, 54% using the basic oxygen furnace, 46% using the electric arc furnace. And the BOF CO2 emissions are approximately 1,700 kilograms per ton of steel, and the EAF is approximately 400 kilograms per ton of steel. The Canadian steel industry's overall carbon footprint is 14.6 million tons. The Canadian Steel Industries Association has a goal to achieve a net zero CO2 emissions by 2050. And let's look at the current issue facing the Canadian steel industry. So the Canadian steel industry producers in Canada have set their sights on achieving a net zero carbon emissions goal by 2050. And the steel industry has reduced their carbon footprint and their carbon emissions by 25% ever since 1990. But with climate change being such a global problem, we need to do better. We need to reduce our carbon footprint even more using green steel, right? So the problem is to realize that this goal, yes, it's a good goal, it's achievable, but we need better technology, better laboratory equipment, and most importantly, more money, more investments, more money from the government. So I'd like to state once again through my project, I'd like to understand that how green steel was made and its overall carbon footprint versus traditional steel. So let's look at the two ways steel is produced. Firstly, the basic oxygen furnace, using 70% iron ore, 30% recycled steel. Now let's look at the electric arc furnace, using 70 to 100% recycled steel, which this process consumes 50% less energy and 75% less carbon emissions than the BOF. A lot more environmentally friendly. Carbon footprint is way less. And annually in Canada, the basic oxygen furnace produces 9 million tons of steel out of that 13 number that I had mentioned at the beginning, but only 4 million tons of that is produced with electric arc furnace, which tells you a lot. 70% of the steel produced in Canada is produced using the basic oxygen furnace. And the automotive industry is now looking to reduce its carbon footprint. How? Well, firstly, weight reduction, more mileage, right? So the mass of today's SUV is approximately 1,700 kilograms, but further research will make these automobiles decrease in weight, and their mass will decrease, being 1,200 kilograms per the SUV. And so the first way I've mentioned, weight reduction to decrease its overall carbon footprint. But what else? What about reducing the carbon emissions? What about reducing the energy reduction? Well, you're in luck because green steel is a thing, and the automotive industry is driving innovation in the steel industry. So the three ways and the three technologies to reduce steel's overall carbon footprint is, of course, the electric arc furnace. The electric arc furnace using DRI, direct reduced iron, keep that in mind, and using natural gas. Finally, direct reduced iron using the EAF, using hydrogen. And Canadian steel and green steel is only possible if hydrogen is produced without significant CO2 emissions. So now let's look at Canada's largest steel producer, ArcelorMittal Dofasco, located in Hamilton, Ontario, south shore of Burlington. 1 electric arc furnace, 2 basic oxygen furnaces. And I came up across this very, very interesting statistic, which had mentioned that there's over 40,000 papers on climate change, but only 600 in green steel. We need more research. We simply need more research on this topic so we can execute this to lower the green steel industry's carbon footprint and make green steel a part of our daily lives in the Canadian steel industry. So now let's look at the global steel demand and its overall carbon footprint. So in 2016, the overall tons of steel produced was approximately 1.6 billion tons of steel, 75% using the basic oxygen furnace, 25% using the electric arc furnace. But by 2050, we're assuming that demand for steel is going to increase, so the tons of steel produced in 2050 will probably approximately 2.8 billion tons of steel, and we're aiming for a 50-50 ratio, so 50% basic oxygen furnace, 50% electric arc furnace. And through past years and future years after 2050, we're going to look to reduce that basic oxygen number, maybe 45 to 40 to 30 to 35, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5, maybe even 0. We'll have to know. We'll have to see what the Canadian steel industry does in the future to reduce its overall carbon footprint. So let's look at the green steel project at ArcelorMittal. They've using $1.4 billion to get rid of their basic oxygen furnace, and they already have electric arc furnace, but they're going to use direct reduced iron in their electric arc furnace using hydrogen, which is the most important. Keep that in mind, using hydrogen. So basically, this whole goal with the DRI and the EAF and green steel, ArcelorMittal is aiming approximately the end of 2028. More realistically, we'll have to say 2030. And as I said, keep this in mind. The DRI plant will only function and only be environmentally friendly if it utilizes hydrogen. So this interesting statistic I got here, and this conversion I got was the BOF. So the carbon emissions per ton of steel, 1,700. EAF using scrap, okay, 400. That's a lot less reduced. But we can reduce those carbon emissions even less if we use the electric arc furnace using direct reduced iron using natural gas. So the moment everyone's been waiting for, the project conclusion. So what I've done with this project is understand how green steel is made and its overall carbon footprint. And we know that the carbon footprint is going to be way less than the traditional way using the basic oxygen furnace. So we need to encourage the Canadian steel industry and local steel producers like ArcelorMittal to execute this and produce green steel to lower its overall carbon footprint and Canadian steel industry's carbon footprint and the steel industry's overall carbon footprint. And finally, I want to get this message across that we need more research. I mean, 600 papers on green steel is nothing, close to nothing. So we need more research in order to execute this and lower the Canadian steel industry's overall carbon footprint. Thank you for listening to my project.